he kind of makes the decisions.
I get it. I get it, girlfriend.
You do. You do not. You could never be with a man that was telling you
That's
what
what
to do
everyone says.
in your business. I couldn't either.
It's nice
But
to turn the mind off though when you have a strong personality like Nene Leakes and I. It's nice if someone just bitch slaps you and says shut the fuck up and show up for dinner at 8 a.m. and or at 8 p.m. and I don't want to hear a word out of you, bitch. That's kind of nice. So I kind of get it, Nene. How did I make this about myself again?
well, because we make it relatable to us, and then our audience makes
Yeah.
it relatable to them. So I appreciated that. Okay. Like, I think good for you for admitting the type of woman that you are. I felt like in this interview, I really felt how lost she is without Greg. I thought this interview was sad. At one point, she said, Nene said, I don't even know that I should be here. I'm totally on the fence. You should, let me give you some advice, okay? Some unsolicited advice to our listeners, someone who will become famous listening to us. If you're not, life is all about feelings, okay? Feelings you get when you meet somebody. Do you feel this person is a good person? Do you feel they're a bad person? Do you feel there's something shady? A job environment, you walk in, how does it feel? If she wasn't confident about this interview, it was so sad she showed up. Then she talked about Greg. If Greg were alive, he probably would tell her not to do it. And I'm like, girl, I felt like we were listening to a woman who sadly is in her 50s, who has completely lost her confidence. And in a last ditch effort, I think, to maybe see if Bethenny, who of course will never help her. I mean, Bethenny would look at you drowning and push you under the water. If Bethenny would help. And Nene even says on the interview, gosh, I don't even know if I should be here because what further doors are going to close? All of them. Let me just tell you, we heard them close when they wrapped the interview. I thought, because, and the other thing I think is sad is Nene has nobody in her camp, or maybe she does. Nobody is telling her why this is happening. Okay. And you know this. All right. I have been at a company where I spoke up and said, what this person is doing is not right. I am banned from that company and others around it. Okay. When you sue somebody.
The Kane show?
Yes. Yes.
You're
I'll
banned.
never work there again. No, there's no way. They'll never, no. I mean, when you sue, and I never sued. I should have, but I never did. You are completely blacklisted from a ton of companies because nobody wants to hire someone that has come in that they know if they do fuck up or somebody from the production company fucks up and says something to you you don't like or find offensive, or maybe it is truly racist, you're going to get sued. I mean, they're not going to take that risk. And all these people talk, but she in the interview to me does not even realize that. And it's like, you're telling she's repped by CIA. Now, maybe her agents are, but nobody's sitting her down and going, girl, don't say a word. Let's settle this. You're going to get $10 million. Do not do any interviews. Don't mention anything, and go and then create your own acting career. Okay. And to me, I'm like, at the end, Bethenny goes, did you make any mistakes? Nene literally believes she's made no career mistakes. I could name 10 I've made. I mean, everybody could. Nobody. I mean, you've owned an HR company. I mean, I'm sure you look back and go, oh, shit, shouldn't have done that. Shouldn't have hired that person. I should have been more aggressive here.
No regrets, but mistakes. Sure. Yeah.
Okay. She literally sat there. She said all this time to reflect. Then she says, well, I was treated differently than Vicki Gunvalson. Vicki Gunvalson called an employment attorney and she's back on the show. And it's like, Nene, because Vicki didn't file the suit. You chose to file the lawsuit. I'm sure a lot of the housewives have spoken to attorneys. Is this right? I felt like, oh my God. And when they got into their friendship with Andy, honestly, I truly am like, I mean, Andy should countersue them. I mean,
I found that the most.
They're so bitter. It's like they want to be his best friend so badly. Okay. Then they talk about, it was pathetic. Then they talk about this baby shower. Vicki had to shell out $5,000. Kyle shelled out $5,000. Nene.
Apparently they all did, right?
And they were like so pissed off to shell out $20,000 for the guy's baby shower. Then don't do it. He's the one that's becoming the dad to be. He's paid you guys millions. Like, you guys are upset because you had to shell out $5,000 for his baby shower. Then if you hated him so much, why are you? maybe you're throwing that because it's the boss. I'm sure a lot of people do this, right? You got to kiss up to the boss or whatever. But I mean, my God, they were so bitter about throwing him a baby shower. And then Bethenny didn't want to go because everyone was going to be there kissing the ring. And you guys, he's the fucking executive producer of Bravo. We put you on the map. Of course you're going to kiss the ring. Like, what? There were so many mistakes that these two women, and I don't know why Nene would give space to Bethenny in any way, shape, or form. Bethenny is worth $50 million. This is a project for her to drive ratings to her TikToks, her YouTubes, and whatever else she's going to launch. Nene, to me, I feel bad for her. Like, she has no clue how to do it on her own. It's like, girl, like, you are not the first person in history for this to happen to. Call Melissa Rivers, your dear friend. Joan Rivers was blackballed after Johnny Carson in the 80s. Joan couldn't get on a network for 20 years. So what did Joan do? She pulled up her pants. She self-produced a movie with she and Melissa. She hit the road. She went to nightclubs that she was way above all across this country, and she built back. If Nene wants a career, you got to go back, honey. You're telling me you can't get in on shows in Atlanta, in New York? Like, people will put you on. But I don't think...
You think so? Like, but in what capacity? Like... Nene should go, honestly.
In any, she could be doing any form of theater. I mean, you're telling me like
she should do
any form of theater. Like
she should do live shows. I don't know. Look, I mean, the one thing, people think, and we'll get into this whole thing with Vicky and, because the one thing I did take away from this is that, when I say that Nene's lawsuit is bullshit and then everyone says I'm racist, what I mean, because it's not a microaggression. What I mean is that if you file a lawsuit knowing that you were not really treated differently, but you want money, which I have no problem with, because I would do it. I've sued many a person in my life. You do it when there's money to be had. Listening to this interview, I might be taking back, just like, I make mistakes, what I said, and that I do now believe from listening to this interview, because you asked me what I learned. I do believe that Nene really feels these things. And so therefore, if you really truly feel these things, then who am I to judge? Because then that is a microaggression, David. And then you have to look at your own, actions of why you think Nene's, why this is, and then that is a microaggression. That's the definition of a microaggression. You got to check yourself at the door, David, and examine these behaviors of yours. So that's what but you know what I mean? So that is what I took away. I took away that she really believes these things. And then therefore her lawsuit really isn't bullshit, because it's